Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see so many of your lovely faces here. My name is Aurele Boaye. I'm a university recruiter. So you can't have any event without having recruitment involved. There's no party without recruitment. So I'm a university recruiter at Microsoft. And over this session, you won't hear much from me, which is good. We've got some lovely interns who are working with us this year. And it's more to just talk a bit more around internships and graduate opportunities at Microsoft. Okay? Excellent. So we're good to go.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So I'll start off and introduce myself. So hi, I'm that first ugly mug on the face, on the screen. My name is Ethan Jones. I'm a cloud solution architect focused in data and AI. Bit about me, I do computer science at the University of Sheffield. I have a really cute dog, so all of you dog lovers out there, feel free to ask me for photos. What my role actually is, it's kind of like three buzzwords put together, but I'm kind of like the trusted advisor for customers during the, I'm going to shout loud enough, it's a trusted advisor for customers as they're migrating over to the cloud.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Gianluca, Sanfilippo, I'm the second one, I should probably tell from the photo. I'm an intern as well, just like unsurprisingly Ethan and Ross, but my role is an account delivery executive. So I fall under the consulting branch of Microsoft. I'm the only one out of us three that's not a non-technical role, so I'm a lot more business and kind of customer focused with regards to building relationships. Yeah, so I suppose really what my role does, when there's a big program of work going on after these guys have solved the work, I come in with my team and kind of oversee the project and just make sure that it's all
There we go. And just make sure everything's going to plan, make sure the customer's happy, and if they are happy, great. If they're not happy, what can we do to get everything back on track? And yeah, so that's me. I'll just pass you over to Ross.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Rosen Georgiev. I do computer science at City University, so it was great to meet some of you. Maybe we'll have the chance to chat again with the others after that. And I'm also an intern at Microsoft. I'm a security technical specialist working in the cybersecurity solutions team. So my role involves being a subject matter expert in the Microsoft security products and demonstrating those to customers and overall contributing to a safer cyberspace.
Excellent. Well, thank you all. And that's it from us. No, I'm only joking. Okay, so.
I saw some smiles at the front there.
I think they're like getting off. Right, okay, so how it's going to work. So we've got a couple of questions. We're going to start just as to get you guys, you folks warmed up and you think of questions. I'm going to ask them a couple of questions first, and then we can come around the room and take your questions, okay? Obviously, we've got a set amount of time, so I'll keep an eye on it. But if you do have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand, shout out your, and the point to you will shout out your questions, and we'll do our very best. I say we, it's the royal we. They'll do their very best to answer your questions. Okay, so we'll start off with a simple one. Kind of, team, tell us about what kind of tips or advice would you give for people trying to get internship or graduate opportunities? Doesn't have to be specific to Microsoft, but what would you share with the room?
So I'll take that one. So I'm going to focus a little bit on the CV side. So during my, well, we've all been through it, or we're all going to go through it about applying for placements. I found there's two kind of approaches to applying with CVs. You've got what I like to call the scattergun approach, which is having just your bog standard CV and then just throwing it at anyone that will listen. Doesn't really work. From my experience, the second approach is more tailoring it. So tailoring it to both the role and also to the company. And how that would actually look like. So I believe I had the opportunity to speak to a few beforehand, but if you're looking at something going into maybe data and AI, for example, maybe looking at having a projects that are a little bit more tailored to that instead of just having, just a bog standard CV that's just. It's always like my technology works in place. Yeah. So we all good? Amazing. Brilliant. So you've probably heard it all before, but making sure that your CV is nice and brief. The last thing that the university recruitment team probably want is a 3,000-word essay about every single thing that you've done across the past 19, 20 years of your life. Making sure that you double check it. You'll be quite surprised to hear that quite a few people leave, references missing. If you say you've done a certain project, but you haven't attached it at the end, or even maybe just a spelling mistake. So, copy and pasting that to something like Word and making sure that you've gone over it a few times. And I think just the last thing, really, a personal struggle for me when it comes to CVs is trying to relay the impact that you've had from some of your roles. So, for example, I may have worked, before Microsoft, I used to work as a data analyst. And I used to really struggle to actually portray the impact that I had on my role. It's always quite difficult to say, I've done this. And, everyone loves to talk about what they've done, right? I mean, people have egos. But trying to then portray, so for example, I made an app. Great. So what? What impact did that have for internal stakeholders? What impact did that have for customers? It's a very rare skill, and I think something that we're all trying to work on as we go along, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one here that kind of struggles with that, but it's a slow process, sorry. And I guess just to go over, keep it brief, be authentic, and make sure you don't scattergun it.
There we go. Thank you, Ethan. So I suppose I'm going to cover just the importance of networking. It's a sad reality, but it's kind of still a bit of not what you know, but it's also who you know. So all of you are doing a great job coming out and making the effort to meet and speak with a bunch of new people, because if you don't do this, you're not going to get, I suppose, the opportunities that you're going to get that could just be online. You can scroll through plenty of job applications and stuff. You can apply for plenty of them, but what does that really mean? No one technically still knows who you are. But coming to events like this, interacting with university recruiters, that's exactly what you need to do. Go make relationships, understand the roles that you're interested in through speaking to people like myself, Ethan and Ross, and then getting your name out there. Get people to know you for you and not just your CV and cover letter. And I'd really recommend, just keep doing what you're doing and getting out there in front of people.
Yep, so some great points made from my fellow interns, and which transitions nicely. After you get your CV on point, you network with relevant stakeholders. Then obviously, if you do the right steps, you will get invited to interviews, and that is why you have to be prepared for that as well. So when you go for technical roles, for example, you will most likely have a phone screening after your CV is successful, which would mean if it's a software engineering job, you will probably get a coding task, or if it's business IT role, maybe you will get some more of like behavioral interview questions. After passing that, the next stage is usually an assessment center with, again, a loop of interviews, maybe with your next hiring manager. But some general tips for all of those processes would be to really be confident in yourself, in your abilities, and just try to present yourself in the best light possible. Try to showcase your strengths, and really do your research and prepare, learn more about the company culture that you are interviewing for, and all these steps will really set you up for success.
Excellent. So, we talked a bit around what to do once you apply, but just tell us a bit more around opportunities for students at Microsoft, if you would, Ross.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Microsoft has different employment types as opportunities to give students more experience, which is essential part of the university life. So here at Microsoft, we have summer internships, which are normally 3 months long, and most of them are based on research projects. We also have the placements, which are 1 year long, and I usually take them between second and third year of your degree. Obviously, that's what the three of us are doing, 12 months placements with Microsoft, which are different areas of the business. So you may apply for technical roles, but there are also other sides of roles on the business side of IT or solution selling, which are all great opportunities and aligned to different skill sets. And obviously, we also have the graduate program, which is called the Aspire graduate program, and it is normally 2 years long after you graduate from university. And it's really a great opportunity to experience what it is like to work for a big company like Microsoft, and to really also learn a lot in the process. And those are the main types of opportunities that we have on offer.
Talk a bit more around the student initiatives.
Yeah, no, definitely. So as Ross just mentioned, these are kind of the more formal ways, I suppose, to get Microsoft on your CV. But there's plenty of other ways as a student to get out there and get Microsoft kind of branded on your CV. So first of all, the Student Ambassador Initiative. It's a great initiative. There's some student ambassadors in this room today. So definitely take your time to kind of find them and ask them a bit more about the initiative. But in summary, it's basically a community of people that love tech, love to learn, and it's all kind of facilitated by Microsoft. It offers a load of opportunities to learn and grow, but also the opportunity to take part and also host your own events. There's also the Imagine Cup, which is a competition based on you join as a group, as a global competition, and it's for technical people to use Microsoft kind of services and technologies to solve a problem. And hopefully, you solve the problem in the best way using the Microsoft technology to kind of progress in the competition and hopefully win. Again, that's a global competition, really cool, really hard to win, but hopefully, and maybe one of you in this room could potentially win it for the UK, which I don't think's happened in a while. So yeah, take the time to get involved with that.
Are there any questions from the audience? I've got some more I could ask.
Yeah. My question is directed to Ross. So, in your position of security technical specialist, could you describe the general tools and potentially your motivation which caused you to go down this path?
Yeah, so the tools that we use are security products from Microsoft. Not going to go into too much detail of that, but it's products like Microsoft 365 Defender, which contributes to a better cybersecurity posture of the organization. And what really motivated me to go to that path is because I like the technical side of IT, but I also like working with client focus and like the business development and relationship management side of the work. And I really like the fact that this job gives me both. And I think that was the main reasoning. Yeah. Is that okay?
Great answer. Anyone else with some questions? We got one at the back.
What made you transition from a data analyst to a cloud solution architect?
Yeah, so I kind of saw it as a natural next step, honestly. So within the data and AI cloud solution architect team, if you will, I'm kind of focused on data science. So coming out of first year, I don't know if depending on your degrees, I did a data handling module in first semester, and off the back of that, I was like, you know what, this Python open source stuff it's not actually that bad. It's a bit of a pain to set up, as everyone that's ever used Python appreciates, but it's not too bad. And did the role a little bit. I was like, I'm missing this. I'm missing this next step. I wanted to look a little bit more into, the machine learning side, the MLOps side of things that role really wouldn't let me. And I thought, well, cloud is kind of an emerging technology. Pretty much everyone's going through migration to the cloud. And I thought that's kind of like a nice little niche, a little crossover gives me a little time to learn about the cloud side of things, but also, a fail-safe way as an intern to learn about the data science. So it was kind of tactical in that approach because it seemed like a natural progression. No worries. I guess.
Questions coming in? Any other questions? Excellent, thank you. Yeah?
Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but what does your daily role look like? How many meetings do you have?
Yeah, so So yeah, it's quite good you asked that actually. But really, I think all three of us though, you kind of make your day into what you want. For me, as a non-technical role, I suppose, my days, because I'm working on a lot of projects and programs, the start of my day is usually stand-ups. So bringing the team together, talk about, what's going on, what's needed to kind of progress, are there any barriers that we need to overcome? So that's usually how my day starts. And then as the day progresses, usually joining the customer workshop, kind of taking down any actions that need to be taken, I suppose, from the workshop. Lunch, obviously. There's normally just a few networking calls and stuff, just chatting to other employees. Because as an intern, I think that's something I really want to emphasize, is you're not expected to be, working 9 till 5 flat out every week on your projects and stuff. It's about kind of getting involved with what you enjoy, I suppose, with what you enjoy. So yeah, I spend a lot of time, speaking to other people, understanding their roles, whether that's technical or non-technical, but also us three are involved in the Student Ambassador Initiative. So a bit of my time is spent kind of hopefully improving the kind of engagement of the community, getting the numbers up and just getting the name out there. But no 2 days are the same really, but yeah, that's usually what my day consists of, just being in calls, chatting to people, whether that's project or non-project related. There we go.
Another fabulous question. And yes, go for it.
So, you all three are on a placement, right?
Yeah.
What was the motivation behind your decision to take a 1 year placement? Because that means you need to take a year out of university.
It's a great question.
Yeah,
What was it?
it's a very, very good question. So I guess my reason is, so I'm quite open and honest about the mistakes that I made during my A-levels, and I went through clearing. I didn't get the first choice university. I ended up on a foundation year. I was very grateful that I ended up in a university at all, given the horror show that occurred that year. But hey, we move on. So I was very open and honest that I wanted to better myself. I almost saw myself going through clearing, which is not the mindset that anyone should have, by the way, but I went with the mindset, well, all these people, they didn't go through clearing. They're amazing. And at the time I was like, how do I better myself? How do I put myself higher up that, the recruiter's hit list, if you will? And I thought to almost not make up, but to try and fill that gap, I thought I'd take the 1 year out, especially because, it's always nice to get paid, I guess. But the main focus was to develop my skills, because I've learned so much over the past year, as I'm sure we all have, about processes, technologies that really universities haven't really taught yet. They're still updating their syllabuses, and cloud, as far as I'm aware, not on my syllabus, nor as it will be for the next few years. So it's nice to have, to be part of the cutting edge technology, be on the edge of that curve. I don't know if either of you, do you have anything to add?
Oh yeah, another thing I was going to say was, especially after this year, this made me realize one thing. I was speaking to my manager the other day, and she was in a similar position where she took a year out to go to university. And I think Ethan touched upon it, the skills you get in your placement year, even for your final year alone, as everyone knows your final year is usually your most important year. And I think going into final year with the mindset I've got from my placement of working 9 till 5 and sitting at that desk, obviously you have a few breaks and whatnot, but kind of cracking out my work Monday to Friday, it's just a skill, even for final year, it's worth doing, just because I know as a student it's so easy to sit down for a few hours a day and think, oh, that was really hard. But in reality, I'm really happy that I've done this because it's made me realize, I don't have to work only a few hours a day. I can really sit down 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, and crunch out the work that needs to be done. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'll let you all know, but that's going to reflect in my final year grade. And hopefully, just the work ethic is just going to carry on. So yeah, that's what I want to add.
Yeah, just quickly adding, I think it's not really taking a year out, because you're still a student as you do the placement. And if you do well on the work experience, it can even help get your grade up when you're back to university. So yes, you graduate 1 year after your expected date, but you get equipped with very valuable skills and experience. So that's why I would do it again if I had the chance, and could really recommend it. So don't be bothered by the fact that you getting the degree can get delayed by 1 year.
That's some great answers. I would add to that as well, from a recruiter's point of view. You can see the differences in candidates that have done some work experience, whether it's 12 months or even 3 months, in terms of during the interview process, the examples you use for the questions you ask, around projects you've done, you participate, you understand it's not just theoretical, what you learn in university, but it's the practical application of what you're learning in university. You're always working in a business context. There's cost considerations, there's time considerations, all that, and it makes you that more industry ready, and that really comes out, more industry savvy, and that really comes out during the interview. So that's what I would say around internships, whether it's 3 months or 12 months, but both I would definitely strongly encourage you all to do.
Yeah, great point.
Excellent. More questions, please. Whilst you're stewing on some questions, I'm just going to ask you, we haven't actually talked about what life is like at Microsoft. Can you tell us a bit more around that?
They really didn't hire me for my my microphone skills, did they? You know, if this was open mic or karaoke, maybe so. But so I won't go into as much detail as Joan did in terms of his day to day, but I'll just focus on almost a higher level, if that's okay. And I think, how do I put this? Interns are well. There's an old-fashioned view. Interns, photocopiers and coffee grabbers, right? And going into Microsoft as an intern, it's quite daunting given the sheer scale and size of the industry, company and also the industry that it sits in. But after 11 or so months, I'm sure everyone on this stage can vouch that we have managed to have impact, even though we're just interns, we have managed to have impact both customer-wise, in terms of the customers we're aligned to, the customers that we do demos for, that sort of thing, but also community-wise. And that is something that I don't, maybe I overlooked that, but the fact that I can come out and say I've managed to, I've had the support of my team, the support of my manager, they've put me in front of these, in front of, CTOs, people that I never thought I'd be talking to. Like, why would they want to talk to me? I'm an intern, right? Just let me, fix a piece of broken code or get you a coffee. But coming out of this and being able to say, I managed to make a real impact. Us three being the co-leads for the UK Student Ambassador Program, is a prime example of some of the impact that we've hopefully managed to achieve. But it's, I think it's been really just credit to the company, putting us in a position where we can influence things as opposed to almost holding us back because, we may not be ready. So yeah, that's what I'm going to add there.
Yeah, that's a great point made by Ethan. And what I really like as well is the great culture. It's obvious that Microsoft has been blessed with great resources, but for me it's impressive that the company also decides to give a lot of it back to the community. And that's why we are always encouraged to get involved in diversity and inclusion initiatives, as well as volunteering opportunities. For example, the three of us have participated in raising funds and awareness for the charities like BBC Children in Need, as well as the Red Nose Day this year. So in terms of culture, as well as work-life balance, it's really a great place to be.
Questions? If you don't, I've got one more for you. And obviously, one of the big values of Microsoft is about the learn-it-all mentality. So could you all just briefly, we've conscious of time as well, we've got about 5 minutes left, tell us about the occasions or the opportunities you've had to learn, some of your biggest challenges or mistakes even, if you don't mind.
So a challenge that I had, that joining the company, I tried to do a lot of things by myself and really go head first, do research and all of that. But I also realized the importance of asking for help. And there's a lot of resources for that as well, and people who are ready to help you. So I think that's what I really learned in terms of lesson from that, to really get assistance from other people who are more experienced than you, This can really help you grow. And in terms of resources for learning, they are really numerous. We already spoke about Microsoft Learn, of course, and we are encouraged to really upskill and get better with the technologies, and also invest in our professional growth, not only related to our role, but yeah, we also have the opportunity to go out of our way and learn more about other areas of the business and other technology and tools.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ross about asking questions and stuff. Everyone always, regardless of how senior, will have time to answer your questions. I'm sure you'll all agree. But one thing that I've definitely, it was a massive challenge for me originally, was speaking to all these people that have 10, 20, 30 years experience and are way higher up the ladder than me. Being able just to communicate with them, and you realize you're not a little kid anymore. You're not just a student. You know, you're part of the organization. You're part of the team. So when speaking to consultants or other people that are way more senior than me, it was a bit weird initially asking them to do things. Can you do this? Can you do that? When, you know, I haven't even worked for a whole year. But yeah, you just kind of get used to the fact that people don't see you as just a student anymore, or don't see you as a kid. And that was took a while for me to get over. But now I feel like I said, part of the team, and happy to really reach out to anyone and ask anything. And yeah, everyone's just been really welcoming. So yeah.
I'll keep it short and brief. So two challenges that I kind of stumbled across pretty early on in my internship was, one, I like to think that this is a pretty nice life tip if you're looking for a life coach. Saying yes to something, you are subconsciously saying no to something else. In life, you may think, oh, I'd really like to do that, but subconsciously, the time that is costing you to do that, you are saying no to something else. Don't try and bite too much off. You know, I'm sure we've all been there where we want to do absolutely everything, and there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Unfortunately, we can't make the day 48 hours, and we can't throw everything in there. So yeah, that was one thing I learned pretty early on, because I was like, I just want to do all of this stuff, and it just wasn't possible, unfortunately. And the second point, which seems to have eluded me, so bear with me 1 second as it comes back. Here we go. Is do not compare yourself to anybody else, right? It's very, very difficult, especially whether it's someone, you know, at Microsoft like as interns, or just in general, right? We all learn at different rates, you know? We all have different skill sets. I think I've spoken to a few of you just briefly at lunchtime. Some of us haven't found our calling yet, right? So don't beat yourself up if you see, I don't know, let's say, for example, Gianluca becomes the president of the United States, you know, and he's only 23. Well done, Gian. But you know, you might be, okay, well, I'm not sure. I'm still trying to think about whether I like IoT or whether I like data. I'm not sure. That's fine, right? We all learn at different rates. We all will eventually get there. And comparing yourself to other people is futile. And I'll consider that a mic drop from me.
That's what a note to end it on. And I'm going to say just a couple of things to close out. I've put up a slide there. I guess in terms of next steps, we like concrete actions. What you can do next. Okay. I think Gianluca talked about it at the start, around your CVs, making sure that's updated, okay? It's updated. You can have one CV, and then others that you update based on the roles that you tweak. If you're applying for a back-end role, front-end role, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so update your CVs. Make sure it clearly states kind of graduation dates, particularly if you're applying for university roles, your work experience, and then we're conscious you're university students, so we're not expecting it to say 5 years as a chief technology officer somewhere, okay? So we're fully aware of that, and then we're looking for potential, not your experience, okay? So what have you been working on? Okay, even if it's a part-time job in the local store, okay? There's a lot of transferable skills. There's soft skills you're learning, interacting with customers. We're customer focused as well, believe it or not. Your customers are Microsoft, you all use Word, Excel, Power Automate, all the rest of it. Okay, so there's a lot of transferable skills, so don't downplay that and feel like you need to force or make up roles, okay? So be realistic around what you're doing and what you've done. And also just, like all of you have done today, going out there to broaden mindset, participate in different activities, make sure you list that on there, okay? So if you're part of the ambassador program, or a developer club, or a student society, make sure that's clearly stated, because it's showing you're being proactive about your learning, okay? You're constantly learning, which is really important value for us all at Microsoft. Okay. This is a little teaser. I'll be downstairs, so feel free to pop down and ask more questions. I'm conscious of time, so I won't be able to take any more questions. Microsoft.com/university. Should all bookmark that. That would be great. Follow us on LinkedIn as well. We've got a group, Microsoft University Recruiting Team. And in there we have a specific team at Microsoft globally that just run activities and events and initiatives focused or targeted at the student population, okay? And and we also, of course, post all of our opportunities, internships, graduates, and PhDs as well within Microsoft Research, okay? And as we said, make connections, network, which is what you're doing today. All right. Brilliant. Thank you all very much. I am downstairs. If you want to have more of a chat about any university recruitment related stuff, feel free to come and have a chat with me downstairs. And of course, our lovely interns. Thank you all for your time.